Tonight on your News at 9, a Joplin Facebook group transforms into a community of folks looking to help out fellow four-staters.
We speak with the Joplin Area Hearing and Speech Clinic on the importance of including children in the deaf community or who are hard of hearing during the holiday season, as a Santa video on Facebook is circulating with Santa using sign language. I'm Caitlin Shive. That's coming up.
Plus, the public library in Erie, Kansas will soon be the proud owner of a new greenhouse, but it's really the entire community who will benefit. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty has your weather. I'm Mike Mahoney, and this is your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks so much for joining us this Christmas. Unfortunately, we start on some sad news. A large explosion shook the city of Nashville this Christmas morning. According to the Metro Nashville Office of Emergency Management, the blast came from a parked RV van in the downtown area. Authorities believe the explosion was an intentional act, and police say officers received a call about shots being fired. When they got to the location, they came across an RV playing a recording that said a potential bomb would detonate within 15 minutes. That prompted police to clear the area.
Well, they went to the residential areas on 2nd Avenue and did their best to get people to safety. Obviously, they heard the announcements coming from this vehicle. They took them seriously and were working to seal the streets, to protect folks, and we think it worked. We think lives were saved by those officers doing just that.
That explosion left 3 people with minor injuries. A Joplin Facebook group has grown into a place where residents can do what they can do to help out each other, especially during the Christmas season. KOAM's Caitlin Shive has the story.
Back in March, a local Facebook page emerged as a way to help out others during the pandemic.
I think we started with about 1,200 people, and now we are over 8,000 members.
Every day, hundreds of posts are published to the Joplin Caremongering page.
You'll see anywhere from just something funny, uplifting, inspirational, to all the way of, hey, we are really down and out right now.
For this holiday season, Shelley released a post titled Christmas for Anyone, where free items can be listed to exchange or give away to each other and to those who may not be able to afford what they want right now.
It brings happiness and joy to my heart to know that we can help each other in this time of need.
Pam Parcel is an avid member of the group, providing warmth to those who need it by hanging scarves, earmuffs, masks, and gloves on her fence and letting the members know each time she does so that they can take what they need.
Just put them on there, and then I posted it within that group that, they were there for the folks that needed to go to the doctors or appointments of some nature and they couldn't get in because they didn't have a mask. They were welcome to come get them.
But recently Pam came into needing some help herself when her washing machine stopped working.
Well, I just kind of put it up there and see if maybe somebody's got one in their garage, an extra one. Maybe they've remodeled and they got the old one sitting in there, and they'll sell it to me for cheap or something.
Without hesitation, Shelley started collecting funds to help get Pam a new one. Member donations started to pour in, and with the help of a local appliance store, Pam was gifted a new washer and dryer.
It's unfathomable to me. Really, it is. A very big blessing, but totally a surprise.
Showing that this group is more than just an online discussion page, but a place where kindness goes and comes right back around.
It's God's blessing is what it is.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
Seeing Santa is a Christmas tradition that's loved by kids around the world, but the experience can be a bit different for children with hearing impairments. But now there's a Santa who uses sign language as he wishes kids a very Merry Christmas. KOAM's Caitlin Shive is doing double duty tonight, and she's got that story as well.
As we celebrate Christmas, a big holiday tradition for some families is to take your kids to see Santa Claus. But with the pandemic, many may not have had the chance to do that this year. So a Kentucky man who goes by Santa J is hoping to change that.
Everything's shut down. Visits with Santa, my season has been vastly different. I've not done half of the events that I typically do. And the ones that I have done have been, I'm nowhere near the children.
He decided to release a video on Facebook as Santa, talking directly to any child watching. It's been shared more than 30,000 times.
This year, it's been hard.
It's important, at least for kids, that they're able to see that, okay, well, we still have Santa. there's still some magic. There's still some wonder.
But there is something special about this jolly old St. Nick's video. Santa J also uses sign language to be inclusive of children in the deaf and hearing impaired community.
Make sure that you are accessible to everyone and including everyone. I mean, it's a big responsibility. I think it's very important. I mean, it's important that no child feels like they have barriers that keep them from Santa.
Dr. Hanny McHale with the Area Hearing and Speech Clinic in Joplin says it's not too common to find holiday characters like Santa J.
Definitely it's very important so they don't feel like they are left out. And if you are a parent of a hearing impaired child, they know all these things when we instruct them. It's a long journey when they are diagnosed with hearing loss.
He says children that are hearing impaired rely on facial movements and lip reading. But with mask wearing during the pandemic, holiday traditions like visits with Santa have become especially difficult for those kids.
It will be great if you can find a Santa Claus or anybody that can sign, because the mask is a major issue for these children.
He hopes to see more Santas follow in Santa J's footsteps.
We can just spread that word around and make sure to make anyone that deals with hearing impaired children to know how to communicate with them. If they learn the sign language, it's an advantage.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
Santa J also says he brushes up on his Spanish so he can chat with Spanish-speaking kids. The Carthage Crisis Center was offering a community meal today for those in need. They delivered around 350 meals to local residents. Those meals featured ham, turkey, stuffing, cranberry dishes, green beans, sweet potatoes, and dessert. Officials say the generosity this year has been pretty special.
But it's one of the most beautiful things that I have ever seen. There's been so many components of people who have just gone above and beyond and given in places of generosity.
The Crisis Center also delivered around 380 meals to people for Thanksgiving this year. Joplin's Salvation Army was also making sure folks didn't go hungry this Christmas. They were offering meals to go and also making deliveries. Their dinner included ham, green beans, corn, rolls, and a dessert. Officials say their Thanksgiving meal distributed around 500 people. It served them, so they plan to do the same for today.
Able to help those in need. To see the energy of the volunteers, the excitedness of everybody's here helping, the appreciativeness that the community is giving us is just a wonderful blessing.
In addition to the meals, folks also got a goodie bag with candy and a pair of socks. The Joplin Eagle Drive-In will be closing its doors soon so the business can move to a new location. The beloved restaurant has been around for years, but the owners are now taking on a new adventure. A new restaurant will open in downtown Joplin at a larger location at 530 South Main Street, which used to be the site for Infusion and Kitchen and Cocktails. The owner says it will no longer be called the Eagle Drive-In, but instead called the Beast and Barrel.
We'll still have Eagle sauce, we'll still have our great fries and some other things that people have been asking about, a lot of that stuff. But it's just time for a new menu anyway. It's been a rough year for everybody, and our menu has stayed the same for a few years. So yeah, it's time to just change it up.
Joplinites still have a couple of days to dine at the Eagle before it closes. The expected closing date is December 28th, with the new location expected to open mid-January. Folks in Erie, Kansas will soon be able to work on their green thumb. The Erie City Public Library was awarded a Spark grant to expand their We Share program. Under the program, library officials planted vegetables and would give them and seeds to members of the community. Now, families who don't have room for the garden at their homes can plant and harvest their produce in a community greenhouse.
I think that it's going to make, first of all, the library grow. It's my big plan for the library to have lots of activities that we do, in addition to making sure that people get food.
The greenhouse was paid for with a Spark grant and costs around $10,000. Library officials hope to have it delivered before the new year. Staying in Erie, the city has finalized the purchase of Stubbs Market, the only general grocery store in Erie. The former owners of Stubbs retired and couldn't find a buyer, so the city stepped in to prevent Erie from becoming a food desert. Cindy Garland will be the new manager of the store, which is being renamed the Erie Market.
I just hope the people that do want this grocery store come and shop here, because they have to support it if we want a grocery store, and that's the main thing, period, is this thing will thrive if they just do some of their shopping here.
City officials have also said they are open to suggestions from the community on how they could potentially improve the store. It's now time for us to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we recognize Ethan Hardin of Fayetteville, Arkansas. Hardin served as a sergeant in the U.S. Army, and he fought in both Iraq and Afghanistan. He earned a Bronze Star, a Purple Heart, and many other honors. Thank you, sir, for your courage and your service. For more information on any of our four-state heroes, or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMNewsNow.com. And we'll be right back with Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty and a look at your weather. Plus, over in Russia, a mysterious foam is seen emerging from a river near St. Petersburg, and local authorities are wondering what exactly is causing it. Details are coming up.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a cold Christmas, but at least we had the sunshine across the region after temperatures this morning all the way down into lower teens. So it was super cold. We did get into the upper 30s, some areas lower 40s for afternoon highs. Great shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, and just to the west of Seneca, Missouri, and we will continue to see clear skies throughout the overnight hours tonight. Look at our lows. During the morning hours, down to 13 Fort Scott, 14 in Baxter, 12 in Carthage, Chanute, down to 13. So when you start that cold, you usually end up kind of cold, but it was a pretty good rebound as we did go into the upper 30s to lower 40s in our western counties. Of course, now we've dropped off some, 27 in CJ, 32 in Neosho, 30 in Parsons, and I think we're about as low as we're going to go tonight. In fact, we may rise a little bit as we head toward dawn due to south winds, which are slowly kicking in. These are really going to increase tomorrow. It's not going to be super windy, but we'll have winds gusting 25 to 30, but that's going to help our temperatures warm up just a bit. A little bit of a wind chill out there as well with that light southerly wind. It makes us feel like upper teens to lower 20s across the region. Outside the station, currently, we sit at about 27 south winds, 5 to 10. Humidity is at 69%. Looks pretty good, though. We have clear skies. We're going to have clear skies throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. In fact, the entire Central Plains are looking pretty good behind a big storm system wrapping up the eastern seaboard that actually gave a lot of people a white Christmas on the eastern third of the country. If you look to the west, you can see that little bubble near Denver. That's a little ridge of high pressure, and that's going to roll in for us over the next couple days and give us pretty good weather. So just in time for the holiday weekend. Let's go down the road. On Sunday, a weak little wave passes by. Could give us a random shower early in the morning, but most of the rain is going to be east of us. Monday, clouds increase. Rain increases Monday night into Tuesday morning. We'll see on and off showers Tuesday, and then a pretty good round of rain Tuesday night into Wednesday morning as this system passes by. But look where it's tracking. It kind of tracks right over us and just to our north, which that's what it's exactly supposed to do, because in the pattern, we're in a 46-day cycle. So last time this came around on November 14th, it tracked just to our north. So it's doing what it's supposed to do, but what that means for us is we'll warm up ahead of it and mainly rain out of this next system. We may get a little wintry weather, but we'll keep our eyes on it. Of course, you can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog, KOAMNewsNow.com. So mid-30s by morning, southerly winds increasing throughout the day. Looks like a pretty good Saturday, actually. Look at our temperatures, over 20 degrees warmer than what we saw today. 34 to start, 54 by noon. High temp right around 60 degrees during the afternoon. Let's go 56 on Sunday, a few sprinkles early. Colder on Monday, rain Tuesday, turning colder again, Wednesday into New Year's Eve. But as of right now, New Year's Eve looks like we'll be on the dry side. Mike?
Well, thanks so much, Doug. And hey, Doug, check this out. They were having a different kind of white Christmas over in St. Petersburg, Russia. That's because a mysterious foam overflowed from a nearby river. Residents are calling it a foam party along the Dudergovka River as they celebrate Christmas by playing in the suds. Although it makes for an enticing, wintry scene, Russian officials are investigating the curious substance. Some environmental groups are also concerned because they think the substance could be hazardous. Still to come, we've got the latest on the stalemate surrounding the current coronavirus relief bill.
Americans hoping for COVID relief could get $600 checks, $2,000 checks, or a lump of coal. I'm Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. More on that story coming up.
Welcome back. The status of a much-needed COVID-19 relief bill is still up in the air following the president's surprise objection to what he says are inadequate stimulus checks for most Americans. Fox News' Chad Pergram has more from Capitol Hill.
The President and I want to wish every American a very Merry Christmas.
The President and the First Lady tweeting out their annual holiday message on Christmas Eve. The first couple praising coronavirus vaccines. They tried to offer people a glimmer of hope as the nation grapples with surging infections.
We are delivering millions of doses of a safe and effective vaccine that will soon end this terrible pandemic and save millions and millions of lives.
The president is spending Christmas and the rest of 2020 at Mar-a-Lago in South Florida, as the status of the next round of desperately needed COVID relief remains in limbo. The president threw Congress and the country a curveball. He announced the package's $600 stimulus checks weren't enough, sending lawmakers back to work to revise the deal days after both chambers approved the plan.
Republicans in Congress and the White House can't agree on what they want.
A showdown unfolded on the House floor Thursday when Democrats tried to put forward a measure to increase the $600 payments to $2,000, as the president suggested. But Republicans rejected the effort because of the huge price tag.
It's up to Congress to right this wrong, and I appreciate the Republicans standing firm on that.
The president has not said whether or not he'll veto or sign the bill, but if he doesn't sign it, there could be a government shutdown on Monday night. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
If you're having trouble communicating with a mask on, some researchers may have an answer. A team at the University of Illinois studied which types of face masks block the least amount of sound. They tried out everything from medical masks to homemade fabric versions, and they found that disposable surgical masks offer the best acoustic performance. Still to come, if you think holiday wish lists are just for kids, think again.
I'm Doug Luzader in Washington. Coming up, we're going to take a look at some wish lists here in the nation's capital. Just ahead.
Welcome back. After a bruising few days, the nation's capital could use an infusion of the holiday spirit. Fox News' Doug Luzader has more on Washington's wish lists and what could happen in the weeks ahead.
The Christmas tree outside the Capitol won't be there much longer, but unfilled holiday wishes will live on.
We need more funding to help firefighters and police, many of whom are being laid off as I speak.
The President-elect Joe Biden wants more money for a 2021 COVID relief package, and it would be a big one if he gets his way. And there is the matter of his team. The incoming administration wants to get cabinet members through their Senate confirmations, and they already have plenty of nominees.
Many have met with Republicans. That will continue in January.
And it could get dicey, with some Republicans still stinging after Democratic efforts to derail Trump cabinet picks in recent years. The Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is non-committal.
The future will take care of itself.
We cannot allow a completely fraudulent election to stand.
The president continues to argue that he won the election, and the next move may be an attempt to block congressional certification of the election results on January 6th, an almost impossible last stand to be sure. And then there is Georgia.
We are going to hold the line here in Georgia.
4 candidates are fighting for 2 Senate seats in runoff elections that have made that state the new center of the political universe. And that is the gift that both parties are really hoping for here, picking up those Georgia seats that will determine which party controls the Senate in 2021. And those contests are now less than 2 weeks away. In Washington, Doug Luzader, Fox News.
President Trump wasn't the only one giving out eyebrow-raising pardons recently. Colorado's governor issued his own pardon for the parents of Balloon Boy. More than 11 years after the infamous incident, Richard and Mayumi Heaney have had their criminal charges wiped. It was in October 2009 that the country was glued to its television sets, wondering if a 6-year-old boy named Falcon was really inside a helium balloon floating over Colorado. It turned out he wasn't, and his parents were later accused of staging the whole incident as a way to become reality TV stars. Richard Heaney served a month in jail for attempting to influence a public servant. Mayumi Heaney was jailed for 20 days for filing a false police report. Now, Colorado's governor says the two have, quote, paid the price in the eyes of the public. Police affidavits reportedly cite the mother later confessing that they'd planned the hoax 2 weeks in advance and had told their 3 sons to lie about it. We'll be right back with more news. Don't go anywhere. A Michigan election official says it's been hard to keep track of all the threats made against her since the election, but one in particular has left her and her family terrified for their safety. Fox News' Ingrid Kelly has more on the situation.
I can't do anything without fear that somebody's going to snatch my daughter.
Wayne County Board of Canvassers Chairwoman Monica Palmer speaking out after receiving a horrifying, threatening message from a former Michigan resident federal investigators have identified as Caitlin Jones.
Contained nude photos of mutilated, assaulted, dead women, and directly following that, a picture of my daughter telling me that I should imagine that those photos were my daughter.
Palmer was also told she and her family should be afraid
because we're terrorists for interfering with the election.
The threatening messages came last month after Palmer originally voted to not certify Wayne County's election results, but then changed her mind to certify them after asking for additional information. Palmer says she was just doing her job.
I'm not sure how trying to do the right thing in making a vote to certify numbers turned into attacks against my family.
It was one of many threatening messages Palmer received.
I couldn't keep up with all the social platforms with the threats that were coming in.
But the one from Jones stood out.
Sheer terror.
This week, Jones, who now lives in New Hampshire, was charged with threatening violence through interstate commerce, but Palmer still has concerns.
I don't know that she's not working with people locally. This woman that I don't know has my name, my address, my phone number.
At a press conference on Thursday, when Palmer was questioned if she had security.
I'm going to pass on that one.
But Palmer did have this to say about Jones.
I'm praying for her.
Fox 2 reached out to Jones and her attorney, but the wait for a response continues. In a statement, the Michigan Republican Party chair told Fox 2, "This type of behavior is unacceptable in our society, and I am shocked and appalled. I am calling for our state's top Democrats, including Governor Whitmer, to make clear that this will not be tolerated." But despite those charges and those threatening messages, Palmer says she still plans to keep her job.
Absolutely. To make sure every vote is counted, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat. So I'd like to continue to be on board, yes.
Well, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another weather update with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy. That's all headed your way right here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, the number of children illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexico border without their parents is on the rise. You'll learn why right after the break. There's a distressing trend from our southern border where the number of children illegally crossing without their parents is on the rise. Fox News' William LaJeunesse looks at the increase and how COVID-19 is playing a major role.
I have a body on my camera in between the fences.
Now, it should be alarming to anyone, an unaccompanied child crossing an international border by themselves.
A surge of unaccompanied children has border agents on alert.
Children and minors are being trafficked in more remote locations out in the west area of Rio Grande Valley or South Texas.
Here, a smuggler crosses the border near Brownsville with 4 children, all under age 7. When agents approach, he abandons the kids and rafts back to Mexico. Confused, wet, and shivering, the children huddle until the Border Patrol arrives.
The other day where we had, I think, a 3-year-old child with a phone number written on her leg and then some information written on her T-shirt, and to me, that is just a recipe for disaster.
The phone numbers make it easy for U.S. officials to contact parents or relatives already here. Unaccompanied children crossing the border jumped from 25 a day in April to 150 a day now. DHS officials say 35% of the kids test positive for COVID.
I'm worried for my coworkers, I'm worried for my family, I'm worried for my friends, I'm worried for migrants.
Why the increase? Floods and the pandemic, the election of Joe Biden, and a judge's recent ruling that, unlike families or adults, the U.S. cannot return unaccompanied children over the border. The resulting surge, agents say, threatens to overwhelm a limited number of available beds.
We don't want to keep them in our custody any longer than we have to. Our facilities aren't equipped for that.
Agents fear the rise in unaccompanied children will continue since they cannot be deported despite the pandemic. Incoming President Biden says he will keep current border restrictions in place pending a 6-month review. In Los Angeles, William LaJeunesse, Fox News.
One of Seattle's treasured landmarks for movie escapism went up in flames on Christmas Eve. The former Seven Gables Theater was gutted by a blaze which broke out shortly before noon in Seattle's University District. Smoke poured out of the building while more than 130 firefighters tried to contain the flames before the roof eventually collapsed. One former patron says he saw the theater's eventual destruction coming due to its poor condition. The Gables was a former American Legion hall that became a beloved movie theater to Seattle cinema fans. We'll be right back.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a cold Christmas, but at least we have the sunshine across the region after temperatures this morning all the way down into lower teens. So it was super cold. We did get into the upper 30s, some areas lower 40s for afternoon highs. Great shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, and just to the west of Seneca, Missouri, and we will continue to see clear skies throughout the overnight hours tonight. Look at our lows. During the morning hours, down to 13 Fort Scott, 14 in Baxter, 12 in Carthage, Chanute, down to 13. So when you start that cold, you usually end up kind of cold, but it was a pretty good rebound as we did go into the upper 30s to lower 40s in our western counties. Of course, now we've dropped off some, 27 in CJ, 32 in Neosho, 30 in Parsons. And I think we're about as low as we're going to go tonight. In fact, we may rise a little bit as we head toward dawn due to south winds, which are slowly kicking in. These are really going to increase tomorrow. It's not going to be super windy, but we'll have winds gusting 25 to 30. But that's going to help our temperatures warm up just a bit. A little bit of a wind chill out there as well with that light southerly wind. It makes us feel like upper teens to lower 20s across the region. Outside the station, currently, we sit at about 27 south winds, 5 to 10. Humidity is at 69%. Looks pretty good, though. We have clear skies. We're going to have clear skies throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. In fact, the entire Central Plains are looking pretty good behind a big storm system wrapping up the eastern seaboard that actually gave a lot of people a white Christmas on the eastern third of the country. If you look to the west, you can see that little bubble near Denver. That's a little ridge of high pressure, and that's going to roll in for us over the next couple days and give us pretty good weather, so just in time for the holiday weekend. Let's go down the road. On Sunday, a weak little wave passes by. Could give us a random shower early in the morning, but most of the rain is going to be east of us. Monday, clouds increase. Rain increases Monday night into Tuesday morning. We'll see on and off showers Tuesday, and then a pretty good round of rain Tuesday night into Wednesday morning as this system passes by. But look where it's tracking. It kind of tracks right over us and just to our north, which that's what it's exactly supposed to do, because in the pattern, we're in a 46-day cycle. So last time this came around on November 14th, it tracked just to our north. So it's doing what it's supposed to do, but what that means for us is we'll warm up ahead of it and mainly rain out of this next system. We may get a little wintry weather, but we'll keep our eyes on it. Of course, you can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog, KOAMnewsnow.com. So mid-30s by morning, southerly winds increasing throughout the day. It looks like a pretty good Saturday, actually. Look at our temperatures, over 20 degrees warmer than what we saw today. 34 to start, 54 by noon. High temp right around 60 degrees during the afternoon. Let's go 56 on Sunday, a few sprinkles early. Colder on Monday, rain Tuesday, turning colder again Wednesday into New Year's Eve. But as of right now, New Year's Eve looks like we'll be on the dry side. Mike?
Hey Doug, check this out. In fact, let's check out Christmas down in the southern hemisphere. Over in Australia, folks were spending Christmas Day catching some rays on Bondi Beach. The popular tourist destination is seeing less crowds than usual this year because of the coronavirus restrictions and poor weather. But Bondi Beach locals stuck with their Sandy traditions today, posing for photos in front of a Christmas tree and wearing their Santa hats along with their swimsuits. Be nice if we got a close-up of them. Okay. Stay tuned, sports fans. Sports director Jacob Leonard is enjoying Christmas with his family, but we have still got a minute with Mitch headed your way. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to your News at 9 and Merry Christmas. The Kansas City Chiefs look to clinch their #1 seed in the AFC this weekend in a showdown with the Atlanta Falcons at home. Now it's time to hear from the voice of the Chiefs in this week's Minute with Mitch.
One reason the Chiefs have been so successful the past 3 years, the absence of fumbles and interceptions, the dreaded giveaways of the NFL. But not all fumbles are the same. Of the first 7 fumbles lost this year, McCole Hardman fumbled in Miami after a 26-yard gain at the Dolphins 7. Demarcus Robinson fumbles after a 28-yard gain at the Carolina 18. Sammy Watkins fumbled after an 8-yard gain at the New England 15. Darwin Thompson fumbled after an 11-yard gain at the Baltimore 20. Patrick Mahomes fumbled at the Tampa Bay 8. Nick Keiser fumbled after a 14-yard gain in Denver, and Travis Kelce fumbled after a 16-yard gain in Buffalo. There's at least 30 more points fumbled this season. Hey, this Christmas and holiday season, it's better to give than to receive, unless it's the NFL. On This Minute with Mitch. The Minute with Mitch is brought to you by Como Jewelry. Every day's game day, Como Jewelry, Pittsburgh, Joplin.
Stay tuned. More news is headed your way. Over in the Middle East, one place marked a mostly silent night, but still a very holy night. Bethlehem residents and religious officials attended Christmas midnight mass in a relatively small collection of the faithful on the traditional night of the Christian calendar marking the birth of Jesus Christ. Thousands of people usually flock to Bethlehem for Christmas, but this year, coronavirus restrictions kept them away. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas usually attends the solemn occasion, but this year he was not in attendance. A Colombian taxi driver and his canine co-pilot were spreading holiday cheer around the city of Bogota this Christmas season. Yellow cab driver Nicholas Walteros and his dog Colonel hit the streets in some matching holiday attire. Look at that. The pair put on some green Santa suits and hats, with Colonel wearing some pretty cool aviator glasses as well. The pair could be seen picking up passengers in their festive four-wheeled taxi sleigh. Walteros and Colonel set aside their usual go-to police costumes in honor of the holiday season. All right, we are not done yet here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we are going to visit a children's hospital in Russia where Santa was seen scaling the building. It looks like he had more to do today after delivering all those presents. We'll be right back. 2020 was a year that found a lot of us staying at home and trying to stay safe. But the cameras were still rolling this year, capturing the many highs and lows of 2020, and people were often putting them online. Fox News' Jonathan Hunt takes a look back at the best of caught-on-camera moments of 2020.
2020, the year of COVID-19, record-breaking wildfires and crazy car chases. But cell phones and surveillance cameras managed to catch folks making the best of it. Like this grandmother who turned another year older with a surprise curbside birthday celebration. Happy birthday to you! One man's Zoom call turned into a fashion show when his son decided to crash. Cameras also capturing the downside to quarantines. One 4-year-old boy caught begging his mother for a haircut while salons were closed.
I really don't like my hair this way. Maybe the salon keepers can do it. Well,
I think they're closed.
They can't let me in?
This dog tried to get over the quarantine 15 by racing with other pups on a TV, while one mother called out her children's sibling rivalry on her remote learning morning announcements.
Your drama class has been canceled because with your sister living here, there's enough drama in this house already.
Car chases stopped traffic across the country this year. This pickup truck leading police on a long chase before colliding with another vehicle on its way into a parking lot. One California driver trying to flee deputies took a wrong turn and landed the car in a pool. While in Connecticut, officers were forced into a 45-minute foot race with a pig.
I think we should move.
Animals gave us some of the more interesting caught-on-camera moments of 2020. A bear in Colorado tried to ease debate night stress by stealing a slice of pizza from someone's porch. These bears decided to rob a rental home, getting away with peanut butter cups, M&Ms, and a couple of beers.
He's trying to open up the door. He's ransacked everything.
A burglary gone wrong for one intruder when he was stopped by a sprinkler. Another thief entered this cigarette business by cutting a hole in the ceiling. When he tried to get out, down he went. But in a year that saw some of the worst in humanity, cameras also captured the best too. Like these San Diego officers who went on a grocery shopping trip for a 95-year-old man in need. Or this group of firefighters as intense flames moved closer. Medical staff cheered on this 101-year-old and this mother of 5 who each spent weeks battling COVID-19, while others paid it forward, holding nightly singing and cheering sessions for the frontline workers who helped so many. 2020 surely captured our best and worst on camera, and with more surveillance technology expected in the new year, even more buzzworthy moments will doubtless be captured. In Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Chocolate sales in the country of Hungary are heading in the wrong direction, and even the Christmas season isn't helping move Hungarian chocolate. In the past, Hungary typically sells around 8 million chocolate Santas and 3,500 tons of the country's traditional tree-hanging holiday candies. But this year, the orders of the famous treats are down by 10%. I guess people aren't that hungry. I'm sorry. I apologize. Earlier this week, members of the New York City Police Department lent a helping hand to Santa. With lights and sirens flashing, the NYPD escorted Santa to the Richmond University Medical Center on Staten Island. Santa and his elves were delivering gifts to children in the pediatric unit and spreading some holiday cheer. Usually, Santa delivers the toys to children himself, but due to COVID-19 restrictions, Santa left the goodies in the hands of the healthcare workers this year. But that is not the only hospital Santa was spotted at. And watch out, Spider-Man, because it looks like Santa also has some skills when it comes to scaling buildings. After a long night of delivering presents, Santa Claus made a stop at a children's hospital in Moscow. In fact, multiple Santas were seen scaling the hospital today and waving to the kids inside. Following the climbing performance, street artists put on a show in the hospital yard which featured an orchestra of snowmen playing some festive holiday songs. Sounds like a good time. Well, thanks so much for spending part of your Christmas with us. I hope it was a merry one. Have a great night. Stay safe out there. And if you're not doing anything, join me this weekend for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.